coming from the left. I get it. They get away with it a lot because they have an infrastructure set up that allows them to get away with it. But that doesn't mean that that's the standard we as conservatives should hold ourselves to. Just because someone's wearing my colors, whether it be politically, sports team, neighborhood, whatever, doesn't mean that I must jump to the defense of everyone who's wearing the same colors that day. I'll give you an example. I'm a big New York Giants fan. If Aaron Hernandez, who was on the Patriots, arrested for double homicide, ended up going to trial, killed himself in prison, if he was a member of the New York Giants, am I now obligated to say, well, we have to give him the benefit of the doubt, and, he really, didn't do this, that, or the other, he was justified in saying, and what about O.J. Simpson and what he did? Does that make what my guy, quote unquote, did any better? No. Conservatives went nuts about a joke at the White House Correspondents' Dinner denigrating Sarah Sanders' eyeliner. We're ready to go to the barricades and start an all-out flame war over it. Yet those same people, many of them the same people, are going through a veritable contortionist experiment to see how they can twist themselves, turn themselves, and contort themselves into justifying calling another human being that they don't like as much as Sarah Sanders a lower form of animal. Just think about that for a second. Has it really gotten to the point where just because we don't like someone, we're willing to let them be denigrated to a greater extent than we would allow someone to have a comparatively lesser slight just because we like them? No, that's not the way this should be working. That's not the way any of this should be working, folks. The way this should be working is we have an objective standard. We talk about this being a bright line rule. This type of conduct is off base. And not that I'm speaking for society. Far be it from me to speak from society. But there are certain things you should not do in normal everyday discourse and allow it to be tolerated. You should not do any ad hominem attacks about someone's appearance in the middle of a political debate. I don't think that's fair at all. You don't go after the person, you go after the idea. You go after the concept, you go after the opinion, you go after the policy point. You don't go after the person who is bringing the idea forth, or who is, discussing a policy point, or bringing something to a table. What goes along with appearance? Race, ethnicity, gender, things like that. These are what we call, in my opinion, third rails of political discourse, or just discourse in general. When you're on social media and you're having your debates with people, folks, are you going around saying, your point should be discounted because you're a white male? No, that's not us doing it. That's supposedly liberals doing that. You white males, you can't have an opinion on abortion. You can't have an opinion on affirmative action. You just don't know, and you don't have the right frame of reference for it. We don't discount arguments because of who's saying them. We go to the content of the argument. Isn't that what we're supposed to be doing here? So when Roseanne Barr, who's someone apparently wearing our laundry nowadays, crosses the line and says a tweet about the Muslim Brotherhood and Planet of the Apes having a baby, and it would be Valerie Jarrett, it hurts all of us when we stand up and try to justify what ABC rightly called abhorrent, repugnant behavior. As we come to the end of this segment, I'll give you another reason why this whole Roseanne defense league, who you want to call it, I don't know what you want to call it. The conservatives come to the defense of Roseanne. Another reason why they're wrong. I guarantee you that at least half of them, and probably more than half of them, were the same people out there who were saying up, down, left, right, and center that NFL players should be standing for the national anthem. This is America. Your free speech ends at your employment. Don't disrespect our country. Don't disrespect the flag. America, heck yeah. So what about the situation now? Presumably, there's a clause in Roseanne's contract that probably deals with her speaking out on certain issues or speaking out in general on social media in a way that will hurt the sitcom's brand, that will hurt the product of ABC. I guarantee you it's in all types of entertainment deals. I guarantee you it's there. I haven't seen the contract, full disclosure, but I would bet money that it's there. So if that's part of her job, to watch her P's and Q's and to mind what she says, how is it any different than the NFL trying to regulate the conduct of their players? So you're okay with the NFL doing that and regulating the conduct of their players by saying that, they'll get penalized, the teams will get penalized and get fined for the conduct of players who kneel during the anthem. But you're not okay with ABC doing exactly the same thing, presumably, assuming arguendo, there's that lawyer term, I gotta show I'm a lawyer, assuming arguendo that there's a similar clause dealing with Roseanne's conduct on social media. So you're okay with the NFL doing that because you like that issue of the flag, but you're not okay with ABC canning Roseanne because you like that show and it represents values and it's one of the few ones out there that shows right of center families, et cetera, everything we talked about earlier on in the show. So you're okay. You can't do that. You're okay with one but not the other. That's not being objective. That's not having an objective standard. That's not even having a standard. You need to have standards. And forgive me, I hold conservatives to a higher standard than I do liberals. I'm not about the whataboutisms. If liberals want to justify having Joy Behar on TV all the time, God love them. She can stay on as long as she wants, because I'm going to constantly remind them what a hypocritical, ignorant, closed-minded witch she is. I'm good with that. She becomes a target for me, and I can hit that target as much as I want to. Rhetorically, that is. Don't advocate violence. Don't go out there and try to find Joy Behar and hit her. Do not do it. I'm looking at you, Russell Gallo. So when the left does that and they want to hold a lower standard, if they want to embrace Kathy Griffin now, a year after holding up the severed head, and think it's all blown over, cool with me. She'll always be the severed head person. If they want to have Jimmy Kimmel host every award show, cool with me. I'm going to keep pointing out what he said. Let them have a lower standard. We need to have a higher standard on the conservative side. And if that means calling out our own in a way that will hurt us short term, like this Roseanne thing hurts us short term, ? Which I'm not really sure it does or not, then so be it. But at least we're holding ourselves up to a higher standard than the other side. I'm not about the whataboutisms. I'm not about rooting for the laundry. I'm not about spending conservative credibility on nonsense. Let's be better than the other side. And let's stop making stupid decisions like this. And it's time for another break now. Thanks for listening to my rantings and ravings, folks. When we come back, we're going to put a bow on this show and see where we end up in a couple of weeks here. Got some exciting stuff here happening on the show that I'm going to be really excited to bring to you in the coming weeks and months to come. Gene Baradelli behind enemy lines. We'll be back right after. Hey folks, I just want to let you know about a great opportunity for listeners of Behind Enemy Lines Radio. If you go to our website, www.behindenemylinesradio.us, and click on the same box ad on the right side of the page, you will get a great opportunity for a discounted offer to join SaneBox. SaneBox filters out all the unimportant email from your inbox so that you can really focus on what matters. If you're anything like me, folks, you get hundreds of pieces of email a day, not many of which is important. SaneBox's smart filter will get everything you need to fly through your inbox and finally make email work for you. It gets rid of spam emails, it deprioritizes emails that aren't as important to you, and it helps you unsubscribe from mailing lists and individual senders with ease. So again, go to www.behindenemylinesradio.us and you click on the SaneBox ad and you'll be given an exclusive offer you won't find anywhere else. Time for a little music. We call this, What the F*** is Maxine Waters Saying?
To be clear, you believe it would have been better to keep in place an FBI director who you said had no credibility to oversee this investigation than to find someone who you think would be a better choice?
No. But I believe the president thought that. Don't forget. You're talking about what some Democrats said, what I said, but don't forget, he was the president. The president supported him. You had confidence in him. It was within his power. And
but you said he had no credibility, so it would seem to make sense that you should get rid of him.
No. Under investigation, this president basically has interfered with an investigation where he may be implicated. That's outrageous, and that's why we're having so much of a conversation about it today.
The bottom line is that you think an FBI director without credibility would have been best served in this position to try to pursue this investigation.
I think if the president had fired him when he first came in, he would not have to be in a position now where he's trying to make up a story about why it does not meet the smell test.
Yeah. Something smells all right.
Understood. So if Hillary Clinton had won the White House, would you have recommended that she fire FBI Director James Comey?
Well, let me tell you something. If she had won the White House, I believe that given what he did to her and what he tried to do, she should have fired him.
So she should have fired him, but he shouldn't have fired him. This is why I'm confused.
No, you're not confused.
Yes I am. Gene Baradelli, back behind enemy lines. Before we get back to Bad Decision Week, and we're going to round out the show here with some outside of the U.S. bad decisions, I want to let everybody know about the exciting project we're going to be working on here behind enemy lines, trying to take the show to the next level, taking it to the TV airwaves. I'm laughing because I can't believe I'm doing it either. Working with our good friend Rick Trader on a new project called American Uncensored News Network. We're going to be starting out with some small network stations in Northern California. Yes, the Socialist Republic of California, get ready to go behind enemy lines. We're going to be having some fun doing this project. Hopefully it all works out for us and we all become rich, famous, and make lots of money, and I won't have time to deal with you people on the internet anymore. But listen, hope springs eternal, right? So once the project starts going off the ground, we're going to let everybody know what's going on. We're going to get everybody involved as much as we can. And we're going to start upping the ante on getting more guests on the show, more giveaways like we did earlier in the year, and hopefully a lot more fun. Because we need some fun this year behind enemy lines. Especially me personally. It hasn't been that fun of a year so far. For those of you know about me dealing with whatever illnesses I'm dealing with and all that other nonsense. Not that I'm complaining, because I love talking to you guys as much as I can. But we need a little fun on this show. So I'm really looking forward to this project. To round out Bad Decision Week, let's talk about some bad decisions going on across the pond. Very quickly, we're going to touch on this before we end the show with a final thought and wrap this puppy up, So, for those of you who follow the exploits of Tommy Robinson, he is a relatively famous journalist, provocateur, out of England, very pro British rights, very pro English rights, very much